It is good to be out with the people and out in the public here at Mississinewa Cigar Company in Gas City, Indiana, where we had long scheduled to do this fundraiser. In the wind and the chilly weather, fall has come to Indiana. And it's just been a crazy news day, and we're like, we're going to live stream it all and share it all. I'm Tony Katz, and that is Fingers Malloy. Of course, Eat, Drink, Smoke. We're here at the Mississinewa Cigar Company in Gas City. That's where we're at in Gas City, Indiana. So that's kind of like halfway between Indianapolis and Fort Wayne, if you want to grab a map. Unless you don't want to grab a map.
In 2023, do people still grab maps?
Well, they grab the Googles. They do something.
Go to AAA and get a triptych and find your way to the Mississinewa Cigar Company in Gas City, Indiana.
So we're raising money for a group called Twin City We Care. And this is about getting kids a solid Christmas. That's the plan. We're going to get kids Christmas, and it's going to be kind of fantastic to do that. The world is mad, and we don't enjoy it. And we don't usually get overly political. But as we're here, I mean, the backdrop was waking up this morning and learning that Israel's at war, and you've got over 100 people that were killed in these attacks from Hamas. There's going to be conversations about the money that was released by Biden on this prisoner exchange. It is no way to start a show about cigars, and we're literally going to be tasting and judging barbecue. There's brisket here, there's pulled pork here, there's pulled chicken here, there's corn that I should be eating right now, Fingers.
Go ahead and eat it right now
on air.
Yes, why not?
One does not eat corn on a live stream. Excuse me.
He's going in, ladies and gentlemen. He's doing what we like to call the Des Moines munch.
That's not it. Hey, it is the Gas City gastronomic.
There it is.
Is what it is. But you couldn't start the day without starting what's going on. This was an attack that happened. Remember, there are holidays going on. It is Shabbat, of course, in Israel. You've got over 100 people dead. Lord only knows what the number is going to be at the end. How in the world did the attack happen? How did they get the weaponry there? Because you're talking about an attack from Gaza, and that would mean these things had to come. It either had to traverse Israel, it had to come up through the Sinai, if you will, or it had to come by boat. And this level of attack is not what was. I mean, people feel like this is very flat-footed. How did Mossad not know, right? The Israeli intelligence services. How did we not know? This is an ugly scene. Netanyahu, the prime minister, has already declared war.
It's shocking because, like you just mentioned, in a lot of ways, the Israeli intelligence is better than American intelligence, especially in that area of the world. For them to be able to pull off an attack like this, it shakes you to the core. And I just hope that that Netanyahu is going to respond.
He has already said it. This is war. So
yeah.
This is where it's at. The responses from Israel have already taken place. I just didn't want to start without making mention of it.
Right.
Discussing it, because you can't not. But the whole point of doing this, being out here in Gas City at the Mississinewa Cigar Company and doing this fundraiser, raising money so kids can have Christmas, was about the world is nutty. The reason we do this show, the reason that we do so much with cigars is to get away from the crazy. And we're smoking the Laranja from Espinosa Cigars. And we'll get into that. We'll talk to Tyler of Espinosa Cigars and learn about it. But it's about the escapism, and it is difficult as all bloody hell, Fingers, to escape.
Yeah, and one of the things that we like to say when we're discussing what we do on this show, we both, of course, do political talk, like you mentioned on several occasions when we talk about the show, and we talk about this being an escape. But at the same time, we like to talk about stories that are being talked about in the cigar lounge.
Yeah.
And this is obviously a story that's dominating conversation in the cigar lounge today.
It's going to be everywhere, and it's going to be the weekend, and it's going to become an incredibly political talk, regardless of where you are with your politics. It's going this first Ukraine, now this. This is going to be a conversation of leadership, a conversation of where is America, a conversation of foreign policy, a conversation of is this about Biden and about the perception of American weakness? And you argue when you're talking about Iran and Israel, America is really not in so much of that conversation. But one could argue that America's relationship with Israel would keep others at bay in such a large scale. This is a very large scale attack on Israel, and someone's going to be talking about restraint and all the other things, and I don't think that's going to fly at all.
No, the other thing too, as we're getting close to the 2024 presidential election, if we were going to have a discussion on foreign policy, you would think about Ukraine and what's going on with China's role in Southeast Asia, and the whole conversation about if they're going to invade Taiwan and if the United States is going to respond. In a lot of ways, it felt like the Middle East has been on the back burner.
Yeah.
And now it's front and center.
So there's already some comments coming up, and I'm glad you guys are watching and leave your comments or at Rumble. You might be on my LinkedIn channel. Of course, follow us on Rumble at Eat Drink Smoke as well, eatdrinksmokeshow.com. And of course, there's already some comments regarding the $6 billion. Remember when we gave Iran $6 billion? LOL, fun times. Thank you. It's Smoker Tommy. Right there, Tommy Smoker. $6 billion was given to Iran as part of a prisoner exchange, but actually wasn't given. It was unfrozen from funds that were previously frozen through South Korea. The issue that I have with that argument is that this happened quick. And I would think that an attack like this would have taken some planning. So I have no way of knowing whether or not the $6 billion actually elicited the attack. Will it elicit other attacks? Without question. That was the argument. That was the key, main, fundamental argument. If you don't give these people money, that this is negotiating with terrorists. You can't do it. And so I don't know if this $6 billion actually meant this attack, but that $6 billion will mean definitely future attacks.
Well, I think that's the question that needs to be asked is what can they do now with $6 billion? Look what they did without it.
And the answer is a hell of a lot.
Yeah. So, look, I understand that that's the reaction, but I think you're right. It's a little too soon for that money to have an impact. This was clearly something that was planned over a long period of time. So that's what worries me is $6 billion. What are they going to do with that money?
That's the way it appears to me, that this would have been planned. But this is all just breaking. I mean, we're literally dealing with it as it happens. A lot of people are going to catch the podcast or catch the radio show and hear this. Understand that we wanted to bring this with you, this cool barbecue competition that we're doing, raising money for kids to help them have a wonderful Christmas. And this story broke, and we're like, well, we can't not talk about it. So by the time people hear this, we may know more about how this came to be. But right now, as we're in it, to the extent that we're in it, there's a ton of information that isn't known, a ton of speculation that happens. I'm not a speculation guy.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people right away jump to speculation and try to latch on to a narrative. And a lot of times when something like this happens, the initial information is wrong. I'd rather be right and be a little bit later on the story than people who are just jumping in right away without all the facts.
So we will get more information. We'll have more information. Tony Katz, Fingers Malloy. This is Eat, Drink, Smoke. And you got to see the scene. We've got people doing barbecue all over the place. Is that a Jello shot? Is that not a Jello? Is that a Jello shot right there?
No, I think those are...
It's a salsa shot.
Salsa shot.
Yeah, bring one over. I got to do one right away. My gosh, what kind of nutty is this? But we've got ribs. We've got the corn. We've got potatoes. We've got what do you have? What do you got ribs? Wait, is everybody ribs?
No, we've got brisket straight ahead
right over
here.
There.
Yeah.
What's up, my man? So and tortillas.
Tortillas over here.
Wait, what? It's not just tortillas. He's got to be making more than tortillas.
Barbecue tortillas.
Oh, it's a quesadilla. Oh, okay. We'll take that too, because nothing says barbecue like a quesadilla.
That's right.
Growing up in Brooklyn, my mother always said to me, it's a brisket quesadilla. Now it makes sense. My mother always said to me, Tony, people will tell you that you're eating barbecue unless there's a quesadilla involved. Don't you believe them?
Now, tell me a little bit about the barbecue scene in Brooklyn.
It's been a long time. Now, and by now, I'm sure Park Slope or Dumbo or one of those areas, there actually is a barbecue scene because there's something everywhere. There was a list that came out of the best food cities in America.
Mm-hmm.
And New York came in at number 20.
Wow.
Orlando came in at number 1.
Probably from all of the New York chefs who left to go to Orlando after the lockdowns. So that's probably what happened there. I'm upset that Gas City wasn't on the list.
Gas City does fine barbecue. That's the name of the city, people. That's where we are now. As you're getting ready, because we're judges in this competition, we are going to be tasting everything, but we're tasting not the same thing. It's different things across the spectrum. Fingers Malloy is a man who has engaged multiple kinds of barbecue in his life. What are you looking for? What is the flavor profile that you need?
Flavor. I want, for me, I have a more of a sweet tooth when it comes to barbecue. So I like more of a sweet rub. You and I have talked in the past. You have just started to use a little bit of brown sugar in your rub on your brisket. That's what I like to use as well. Good smoky flavor, nice smoke ring, good tender meat. Yeah, that's. Do you like fall off the bone ribs, or do you like a little chew on yours?
I like a little chew. I have said this more than once. I like a little meat on the bone. I ain't not gonna lie about that. I like a little bit of chew. I do not like something that overly falls off the bone. I find it to be. I find it to be problematic. Like it's getting in my way. Like that was too easy. I don't want it to be too easy. I want to work for it. Damn it.
Well, for me, it's amazing because when I make ribs, people in my family, they want fall off the bone. They want fall off the bone ribs. So you do what makes the family happy. Right. But I don't like having ribs and pulling a rib off the rack and the bone just comes off cleanly and there's your meat sitting right there.
That has never happened to me.
No?
I admit to you, now maybe in all the things I smoke, I don't do enough ribs because I'm the only one who eats, I do beef ribs. I don't do pork ribs at home. But I have never had that happen. I think that's a very personal preference thing. I want a little bit of rigidness in that. I don't think I'm the only one. If I'm the only one, I'd be shocked.
Well, it's interesting because you talk to people who go to contests, pit masters who compete on a regular basis, and the judges are looking for a little bit of chew in their rib, but a lot of the public, for the most part, they like to fall off the bone.
Sharon is asking, is more moist fall off the bone or chewy? And I just want to thank you for using the word moist. That's a great question. Which I would say it could be equal. I would let others make that call. I think it really depends on the individual thing. I've had things fall off the bone that are dry.
Yeah.
Right. Not enjoyable in the slightest. I've certainly had that happen. But that is, as we discuss it in the book, Let's Go Barbecue, available at Amazon.com. So much of this is personal preference stuff. So much of it is this. What is it that you like? How is it that you like it? Like, we haven't even gotten into what kind of sauces did they use. Is this going to be sweet? Or are we going to feel a little bit, Texas style? We feel a little bit more Kansas City. Did people go North Carolina or Lexington and get some more vinegar kind of feel and kind of flavor in there? I don't know what they did. So that all is going to will play a part in what your meat's like.
Yeah. And so basically what's going on here is people are buying a wristband. They're getting tickets to go and they'll go to how many pit masters do we have here? I think we got
183.
183. 100 shy of that probably, but still, let's go with 183. There's still time to get here at the Mississinewa Cigar Company in Gas City. So if you're in the area, please come on down and try the barbecue. So they're giving us tickets. You get to sample the barbecue from the different amateur pit masters here. Some have been here all night smoking brisket, and you help judge who wins this competition. You put tickets in for your favorites. They got a little box in front. There is no ballot stuffing.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But
Someone made potatoes.
yeah,
So I'm doing that right now.
that's fantastic. I got to try the corn. I've not tried the corn yet.
You have it right there. So we're eating, we're smoking, and we're talking. This is all I ever wanted from my life. This is actually my ascension of the American dream. I'm done now. I'm done. What we need now is a beer. We need a beer. Gas City Brewing is here, and they have a porter and a stout because they knew we were coming. A hand, Fingers Malloy. A hand for a porter and a stout. Right there. Well done. I'm going to eat this.
But first of all, the corn's wonderful.
Right? I didn't even see you eat it.
There's a bite right there.
I see. Well, now I see it.
There's right there.
Now I see it. So we're going to get into the judging. We're going to talk about this cigar. This is Laranja Reserva. So Laranja, part of Espinosa Cigars, they have got a massive line. They're doing some of the best work in America right now. This was their first in that Laranja. There's the Azulejo, which is a blue label. There, I believe it's an Oscuro that they have as well. This is that orange label cigar. I enjoy it tremendously. I think it's very well done. It's a Brazilian Laranja wrapper, Nicaraguan in the binder and the filler. 5.5. This one actually is not the 54. I think this is a 50 ring gauge that we've got here. But 5.5 means 5.5 inches long. Always makes Fingers Malloy laugh. And 50 is the ring gauge. That's the diameter of the cigar or how thick it is around. Again, with the laughter. There's a subtle sweetness that comes in here. There's a little bit of hay and grass that exists on this. This, while not a Connecticut that most people think of as their morning smoke, I think this works wonderfully as a morning cigar.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Also, I'm getting some notes of potato and corn.
Oh, that's gonna mess with it, of course. Of course, there comes a moment where it doesn't matter. You just kick back, relax, and enjoy it. So you should.
Is there a little bit of cinnamon on this?
All right, so there is a I think a nice bit of a natural kind of sweet that exists. I would almost say there's a little bit of citrus that pops from this. I've always felt that, but I think I don't get cinnamon.
I'm getting more of a hay than a leather.
I think that's accurate. And people be like, well, does that mean it's a dry cigar? Not necessarily. No. It just means very often when we get into the haze and get into the grasses of a cigar, things become a little bit brighter, right? The flavors get a little bit brighter. And it's one of the things that I like about the cigar, not overly heavy. It really can play. It's a nice match to what we're eating. You know, the potato and the corn. Yeah, they've got some seasonings on them. But you're talking about stuff from the earth, and these things kind of do match. But it's not going to overwhelm them, and you're not going to be the other flavors aren't going to take away from Espinosa Cigar.
You know, and leading up to this weekend, I have to say I was a little bit bummed based on the weather forecast because it felt like 83 degrees and sunny every day for 3 weeks.
Right.
And then today it's in the mid 50s. But other than it being a little breezy, this is an absolutely gorgeous day to sit outside, eat some barbecue, smoke some cigars, and eat some potatoes and corn.
The sun is shining. People are falling in love. We've been told that a fair amount of the people here may, after this is over, end up pregnant. Yeah, it's true. This is the kind of event where people fall in love.
That's beautiful. I'm getting misty. Right. It sounds like the beginning of a Hallmark movie.
By the way, I was wrong. We are doing the Robusto Extra, the 5.5 by 54.
I thought it was 6 inches.
Go ahead. Just makes them laugh. The question, Fingers Malloy, is this in your humidor right here for $11 a stick?
I mean, we're just into the first third, and it's a little difficult to make a decision when you're in the first third, but because of how good of work that the folks over at Espinosa do, it's a yes for me.
It is. It's a nice cigar in the humidor because this will work for a lot of occasions. But Fingers, I have to interrupt. Tony Katz, Fingers Malloy. This is Eat, Drink, Smoke, And we've got a friend here at the Gas City, in Gas City at the Mississinewa Cigar Company, who was making quesadillas, and he's like, well, you need meat in this. So grab some brisket and some bourbon sauce from a man over there. I don't know who he is. Who is that? That's Sean. Sean, give a hand for Sean. What the hell? My gosh. Made us a brisket quesadilla. There you go. I'm going to put my hands all over that, Fingers Malloy. Made the brisket quesadilla.
And you were the one that just made a wise-ass comment about quesadillas.
No, it's because I did that we got this. There's a method to my madness. Look at that. Excuse me, everybody. Oh.
And he's doing what we call the Memphis Munch.
Oh,
my goodness.
I'm not going to lie, Fingers.
Yeah?
It's terrible.
Oh, stop it.
Excuse me. Oh, my.
Look at that cheese. Look at the amount of brisket in there.
Sean, you're beautiful. Give a hand for Sean one more time. What the? And my man over here, what's your name, sir? Abel, making the quesadillas. Get a quesadilla from Abel.
Now you need a salsa shot.
What is happening right here?
Oh my goodness.
Right?
That's darn near perfect.
The brisket is unbelievable. The sauce has that tang, but the sweetness comes underneath. The cheese is like
Swiss?
my mom used to make.
Is that Swiss cheese?
What is the cheese, Abel? Queso Rico. So yes, it's Swiss. I believe, Fingers. I believe that's exactly what it is right there.
Oh, that's magic.
And so all this is to raise money. I know, Fingers, you got some information about Twin City We Care.
Yeah, let's
We're just
talk a
trying to
little
get
bit.
Christmas. Go ahead.
Let's talk a little bit about Twin City We Care. They began in 1980 as a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting those less fortunate in Gas City, Jonesboro, and Mill Township during the Christmas holiday season. They have a major fundraiser in Gas City Park every year. They're raising money here, and they provide Christmas for families in need. So that's what we're here for today. We're here to raise money for Twin City We Care.
Now, we're doing this. Everybody bought a ticket. Everybody is spending money. There's a silent auction going on. We're going to be here for a while. We just wanted to kind of bring it to everybody. We don't get to live stream enough. So this is where the new studio is coming into play. Got my final approval. On the studio. I have been working on adding to the house. And so 400 square feet is what it's going to be.
I've seen the plans. I thought the moat was a little excessive.
Well, you got to keep some people out. Not everybody makes a quesadilla like Abel over there.
Right.
But we will be doing a lot more live streaming with that studio because the setup and teardown when we're in the cigar lounge, Blend Bar Cigar. We've done the show here from Mississinewa Cigar Company. It makes things a little more difficult from time to time, but when we have the studio, when we have it all set, it's going to be pretty fantastic. You didn't get to, unless you were watching the live stream, Fingers almost got decapitated by a what is that, a tent?
A tent.
That got blown over?
Oddly enough, it's the third time that's happened to me this week.
I didn't even flinch. I didn't flinch. I didn't move. Fingers Malloy. We've got a lot of things on the schedule, a lot of things to talk about. We've already discussed Israel. We will get back to it.
You know what I'm excited most about, Tony?
Pray tell.
So I know how you love me bringing products for us to review.
I hate every single bit of it.
So apparently Coca-Cola, and we're going to do this a little later because we don't have a dirty glass to drink this out of. Coca-Cola has created a new flavor called Y3000, partially created by artificial intelligence.
No.
Yes. Apparently, if you look at the ingredients, it says high fructose corn syrup and space-age polymers.
Well, that's where the flavor comes from. So did they punch in, hey, AI, hey, ChatGPT, what's the recipe for Coke?
They apparently wanted to embrace AI. And so they went to apparently Chat GPT or
Go create it with artificial intelligence, and then on the other side it says futuristic flavored.
yeah.
That's gross.
It's new from Coca-Cola Creations. It's a limited edition Coke flavor from the future.
That's
I guess
That
from the
is
year
just-
3000, which is ridiculous because we all know we're going to be destroyed by a meteor in 2522.
Oh, I thought it was 2024.
Oh,
I actually thought it was going to be this election.
something to look forward to.
This election was going to do us in. It's Eat, Drink, Smoke. I'm Tony Katz, and that is Fingers Malloy right there. He's America's favorite amateur drinker. We talk often what's going on with business, what's going on with the business community, how the economy is going. Business Insider with the story that retailers are going to be facing a self-checkout reckoning. Now, self-checkout is where the supermarket or other stores say, why should we have to work for a living? We can make you pay us and you work for a living. And so you've got the self-checkout on everything everywhere. Nobody knows how to use the machines. You did a whole thing the other day about how there's an etiquette for the self-checkout. And my answer is, if you want etiquette, put someone there to say, hey, thank you for shopping here. Let me take care of that for you and do the checkout for me. Don't you dare tell me I have to do my own checkout and then somehow I'm not being nice about it.
No, for the record, I didn't actually write the piece that we talked about on Eat, Drink, Smoke. But no, you're right. The thing that has been amazing about this self-checkout phenomenon is, at least at the grocery store that I shop at, originally they had a regular checkout line that you would do the self-checkout, where it had the conveyor belt, where you would scan the thing, and then you have like a nice large area to do your bagging. And now it's gotten to the point where you go to some of these retailers, you can have a full cart of groceries and they give you a little area the size of a postage stamp to bag $200 worth of groceries. I absolutely hate it, and I'm sure most people do, and that's why you're seeing this pushback. On top of the fact that you go through the checkout, you go through the work of doing it yourself, and then you got someone at the door wanting to pat you down, go through all of your bags, make sure that you have everything.
But in all these self-checkout places, now they've got someone there to check you. They need to have someone to help you. The scanner never works. You got the whole coupon thing. Every time we try to make it easier, it never is easier. Every single time we try to look, this is going to streamline the process. Nothing gets streamlined. But guys like Fingers absolutely adore it because that way they don't have to talk to people.
Well, don't get me wrong.
You hate people.
That's not true. I don't hate people. There's a time and place for conversation, and I don't need to be at a checkout line and someone turn to me and say, hot enough for you?
Why not?
How do you respond to that?
Well, what if it isn't hot enough for you? What if you enjoy make a friend?
You enjoy small talk at the grocery store, looking at the display of the Inquirer magazine. That's something that
I want to know what's
to.
going on with the ghost of Elvis every single day. If it wasn't for the National Enquirer, how would any of us know what's true?
Apparently, the ghost of Elvis actually had a baby with an alien last week.
The alien's fake, right? Did you see the alien baby?
That's what the Germans want you to believe. Little Norm Macdonald for you. Oh, but
if they get rid of self-checkout, I'll be very happy.
There's a place for it, though. If you go in and you have 3 items, you just needed a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, and a stick of butter. It's nice to go through the self-checkout, get in and out in 30 seconds instead of having to wait in a long line behind someone who's got $200 worth of groceries.
Why are the lines going to be long? What happened to 10 items or less? Now, if you get in the 10 items or less aisle and you have more than 10 items, then I'm okay with bringing back the death penalty. That I'm fine with. Right? This is not Vietnam. There are rules. I just want people to live by the rules. But the self-checkout, no one gets helped.
What I like about the show the most is there are people who are doing talk shows around the country discussing this very issue. I don't think anyone has said this isn't Vietnam until today.
Well, I like to make sure people are all in the same place mentally, for sure. We are here in Gas City at the Mississinewa Cigar Company, raising money for Twin City We Care. We are helping kids have a good Christmas, and they're doing it with a barbecue competition. The wind is blowing, and no one cares. People are wearing shorts. Some people aren't even wearing pants. It is just madness out here. So what I think has to happen, Fingers Malloy, well, we'll keep the live stream going. I think we're going to take a little break.
We will. And for the record, I am wearing sensible slacks.
Kind of right there. You kind of are wearing sensible slacks.
Okay.
I think that's pretty good. I'm going to put on some music. We'll see if it works. I have like I don't know. I have daydreaming, it says.
Do you have any Engelbert Humperdinck?
I don't. If you give me one more drink, I'll hum a few bars. Keep it here, guys, and make sure you follow Rumble in all the places. raising money for Twin City We Care. We just took a little break. What I realized is my music does not loop.
Oh, so it's one song and that was it?
One song and done. And that's it.
But that was a darn fine song.
You know who wrote that?
Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien is who wrote that song right there. That's exactly it. Sadly, Fingers Malloy, your camera is not showing up anymore. So that happens sometimes. Sometimes your camera just stops.
That's okay.
Just stops working right there. This is the beer from Gas City Brewing, and what we're doing here is this is, what do they call this again? The something rat. The Muddy Rat. It's a chocolate.
Nutty,
not muddy. Don't try and show on your anatomy, sir, where it is. That's awkward. Right there. Oh, that is absolutely wonderful. What I love is that people are like, you need to talk to this person, that person. They're not even waiting for us to run our show. They think they can. They think they should be running the show. Oh, there's going to be some beatings afterwards right there. But as we said, we're here for a fundraiser. We're here to raise money for Twin City We Care. Betty, have a seat. Betty, do you need a beer, Betty? Do you need a beverage of any kind? Do you need some brisket?
No.
Do you need to fall in love, Betty?
I have.
Oh, you have. Well, you said it was such a. Oh, I did that one time. Never again, Betty. Now make sure you speak into the microphone. That's what's key. This is Betty from Twin City We Care.
You want to show up. It's a long time.
Yes, the volunteer period.
Right? And what do you do in this volunteer position?
We provide for people. Christmas is our primary source, and we provide gifts and food for families that are really struggling. There's some people in this community within a stone's throw of here that are probably living on $600 a month.
Well, I think there'd be an argument for whether or not they're actually living. So on that kind of money, and especially in today's world, this economy, this inflation, are you finding that there have been more issues over the last 10 years than in years past? I mean, 43 years, you have a lot of data to be able to use.
Actually, we started running our assistance probably in the early 2000s, the late 1990s. It has gone down, but last year it was up 25% over the year before.
Not even a surprise, right?
Although, again, what really surprises us is almost half of our recipients are households are just senior citizens. And again, many of them, all they have is Social Security.
Is that a function of the talent of Gas City? Different areas I still would have different issues.
Right. I mean, I think possibly, yes. I mean, another thing is we do provide schools This year, I have never blocked headlight treatment before, but this year we provide headlight treatment kits to all of the schools, except for high schools.
Of course, fundraising is always an issue. How are you on volunteers? Are you able to staff yourself properly? Are you always looking for more volunteers?
We're always looking for more volunteers. Let's face it, some of us are getting older. We don't move as quick as we did. And actually, COVID helped us out. For one thing, for 39 years, we had an annual auction. And that was a lot of work. With COVID, we decided to keep it in stock because we don't know what we might be handling and who's handled it before. So we have just gone to other donations. We have a community we put up that shows just some large donations of how we're doing. And it's working out fine, actually. We've been personally shopping for every shop.
Now, of course, this is a great event being thrown by the Mississinewa Cigar Company, raising money for you. Do you have another fundraiser that's really up there? I saw something about maybe this was the previous year about the washes in the park, things like that.
We will have, again, we're next door neighbor does a lot of photography on wildlife, especially eagles. And he is, the last couple of years, last year, I think he raised over $5,000 with selling these online. We had an auction, and he had them all matted, and does quite well with it, and he gives 100% of the money back to the
If people want to donate, where do they go? What is the website? How do they find you?
They find us in town, and again, you
You
know,
know, we've got people listening all over the country. They want to send a couple of bucks. You have no idea. This is the big time. Every other interview I've done is total nonsense. This is when you become a professional, right here. 43 years until
well, I'm sure
finally
they,
the stage.
if they just say Twin City Green Care and here at City Hall, Gas City, it will get to us. They are very good to support us. The city does. It's just that's the best way to do it.
I can't thank you enough for being here. Twin City, we care, and we'll get information out to everybody about how they can give to you. Can't thank you enough. Thank you, man. It is
Good job, Betty.
It is what it is, what it is. And this is not going away anytime soon, especially as we see more indicators. One of the most fascinating indicators came out on Friday when we said jobs numbers. The Dow Jones had it set, they found 170,000, 336,000 jobs. But the labor force participation rate did not change, it stayed at 50.8%. So what is happening as economists people are going back to work because the free money has run out. They no longer have the savings that they've had regarding COVID when they were doing the Great Resignation. The Great Resignation is coming to an end. So you have more people taking jobs. You have more people coming into the workforce, so the workforce rate doesn't change. But you still have 9.6 million jobs available in the United States. All of that says this is the economy is not slowing down. But the economy is massively rough, and that means that there's no end to the idea that interest rates are going to go up. They're going to continue to go. Yeah. And now you have to make the decision if you are in a home that you purchased, say, 3 years ago, and you got a 3% interest rate on your mortgage. I think you need to get a house. Okay. Or a different house. You go ahead and make that purchase, or you wait and hope that interest rates go down. I can understand people thinking that they want to do that, but unfortunately, it may be a long time before we've seen interest rates even on 5%. You are not kidding. I do not see the idea
that we are in any way, shape, or form out of the woods just yet. I'll try and move that around. We're not out of the woods just yet. We're in a bad spot. It's going to continue to be a bad spot. We don't have an option. If the objective is about reducing the inflation, then the interest rates have to stay high. The other number that is damaging is when you look at manufacturing. Manufacturing in the United States has contracted for 11 months in a row. 11 months in a row, which means come Christmas, there are going to be less things on the shelves and you're going to see the retailers buy early. You have less actual product to purchase. And this is also true of less product that can get repaired. Having a conversation with a small business owner who owns a pizzeria. Pizza oven has a problem. Hey, I need to get it fixed. Sorry, can't help you. What do you mean you can't help me? That's why I have the contract. It's why we do the whole thing. So when I have a problem, you come fix my pizza oven. If my pizza oven doesn't work, I can't make pizza, I can't make money. It's over. The parts aren't there.
Yeah.
You're seeing this in the UAW strike with how they have on the distribution side said, put those people on strike. So now if you need something fixed on your car dealer may not have that part.
And then you think of the China conversation and how China's economy is collapsing. And you talk to business owners that may rely on components, parts from China. There's a business I know that they have, they're putting in EV chargers. they had to wait. It should have been. We thought at one point that we were going to start decoupling from China, and some of this manufacturing was going to come back to the United States, where it feels like it's getting harder and harder to get the parts from China, and yet manufacturing is shrinking in the United States. Where are these things going to be made moving forward?
The idea that everything should be made in the U.S. is a kind of a problematic idea. And it's problematic because as a matter of safety and security, it's not actually helpful. Agreed, we need to bring more things back to the U.S. There is a security issue about, for example, we create the drugs in the United States. When we talk about what you take, parents take, grandparents, we create those, develop those in the U.S. But the actual manufacturing usually takes place in China. On a national security basis, we should be doing some of that here. But if we should have a problem here, now you run into the same issue. So you need the global supply chain.
Yes.
You need that global manufacturing. That leads to conversations about India. That leads to conversations about Australia. And India is a problem right now with the United States because we are allies. We have this good relationship. But they're still buying oil and gas from Russia because they have a thirsty country. They have no interest in having the level of poverty they do in the nation. They want to grow out of it. And the way you grow out of it is cheap energy. And this is where the entire green movement falls apart. You want an electric vehicle? I think it's fine. Go ahead. I don't want it forced down your throat. You want to put a windmill on your property? Go ahead. I don't think it should be forced down your throat. Green cannot power a society. You still need gas, oil, coal.
Well, going back to the pharmaceutical conversation, you and I are both small government guys. The question is, how much can government step in or should step in when we're talking about vital drugs that are made in China? I don't know what the answer is, but I feel like something should be done just because this is a national security issue.
The idea of being a small government guy, which I am, clearly, I believe in government. I believe government should be very, very streamlined and very, very focused. There is no doubt that the United States needs to do things that's in the best interest of the United States. And having this level of manufacturing outside the United States is not in its best interest. And when you argue there are national security implications, because pick the drug that you can't get access to. It's hard to have a nation without population. You can't have population without a healthy population. Thus, the drugs that we have developed are necessary. You can't be held hostage to that. So for the nation to turn to some of these companies and say, it's got to be here, I think that's very acceptable for a government of, by, and for the people to say. But you also have to ensure that they can actually produce here and still be able to profit here. And that's where the divide politically comes.
Well, the other thing to consider is, I assume, making an assumption outside of the industry, which is probably dangerous to do, but what the heck, why not speculate?
I love a good speculation. I met my first wife speculating.
There you go. Bringing these pharmaceuticals back to the United States and manufacturing them here sounds like a wonderful idea, but what if these companies have a difficult time coming up with a workforce to consistently be able to produce these products? I mean, you find this in manufacturing all the time, especially suppliers, say, in the automotive industry. It's hard to get people to show up in these facilities and get them to go to work.
It is amazing how we have just moved around the horn on this conversation. One thing leads to another thing, leads to another thing, leads to another thing. And it is a great example of how, and we only are doing this surface. We're not digging in deep on all these things of how treacherous the situation really is. Because what you're bringing up, Fingers, is paramount. We have a labor issue in the United States. And this goes back to where we started. 336,000 jobs beats the living snot out of where they thought we would be with 170,000 jobs. But we haven't yet solved the problem of, do we have the workforce to handle all the issues on a side of physical labor, on a side of mental labor and this creation. The answer, or maybe the way to describe the problem best is TikTok.
TikTok?
OnlyFans. By the way, I really need to create.
When is this going to happen?
Maybe right now. How do you convince people to take the job in that 9 to 5 category when they believe they can simply just create content for TikTok or OnlyFans and they make good money? They don't have to show up to an office and nobody tells them what to do and there's no stress. I mean, that's just,
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Or if you make the decision, I'm not going to work for one company. I'm going to create several revenue streams. Maybe I'm going to drive for Uber and do DoorDash. Maybe I'm going to be an online retailer, go to these storage facilities and get in on the auctions and buying all that stuff and selling online and having 3 or 4 different revenue streams rather than doing a 9 to 5 job because you're being, you feel like you're more of an entrepreneur and you're not working for a company. But I'm curious as far as that jobs report as to where those jobs were created, because you said manufacturing is shrinking. We're seeing, at least in big cities, retail is shrinking. There are whole box retailers that are saying, we because of organized retail theft, we are not even going to have a store in different areas of the country and in major cities because of the retail theft. I'd be very curious to see where these jobs are and where they're being created.
I can tell you.
Oh, there you go.
I can tell you because I know how to go to BLS.gov, the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You have 96,000 jobs that got added in leisure and hospitality. You have government employment increased by 73,000. You have
goody
healthcare that added 41,000 jobs in September. Professional, scientific, and technical services, 29,000. Transportation and warehousing, 9,000. That's it, which brings in other problems. But information went down 5,000. That's just one of the places.
Well, that's interesting because you mentioned tech, and it felt like a year and a half ago, people who were working in tech just felt like they could just skip from job to job, and there was such a high demand. And now you're seeing big tech laying off. So.
Yeah. And that's where part of this whole conversation of the Great Resignation coming to an end, they no longer feel that way. And one of the numbers that I think someone discussed was there's a report on whether you're happy with your job. And that number has ticked up. And it has to do with the fact that people are, there's nothing else to look for. They can't look for something else. It doesn't exist. It's not out there. And when it's not out there, they're like, all right, so here, it's pretty good. Okay, it's cool. I like to be in the office 2.5 times a week and all that jazz. Good. So there's this. People are happy that they have a job and they haven't been laid off, as opposed to 2 years ago when they were job hopping like they were a Kardashian going on dates.
Oh, look at you, Kardashian reference.
That was good.
But it's interesting that the biggest uptick was in hospitality, because it feels like people are, obviously post-pandemic, they're feeling much more comfortable about traveling. So I'm guessing hotels and, there's an uptick there, and also restaurants. They've been struggling to staff restaurants for a long time.
And they still are.
Yeah. So you have a situation where people are, there's a little bit of insecurity about the economy, but people are still going out and they're spending money on travel. They're still going to restaurants. They're still going to cigar lounges, thank God. So it's a really weird time, 2023, with the state of the economy.
And it's going to continue to be. We have got a lot more to get to. We have been handed from Tyler at Espinosa the Corona Gorda knuckle sandwich here. This is the cigar that is made in conjunction with Guy Fieri of Food Network. So we're going to talk to him. We have people who want to buy T-shirts and books and everything else.
We're not going to talk to Guy Fieri.
Why not?
Is he here?
He should be here. Where else is he going to be? All of a sudden there's just a round of applause. I love it.
I think they thought that you just announced Guy Fieri's going to be here.
I don't think that was it.
No, you don't think that's what it was?
I don't think. Okay. I'm not so sure.
All right.
I'm not so sure. So if you're watching on the live stream, we thank you. EatDrinkSmokeShow.com is where to go. EatDrinkSmokeShow.com and be a part of everything that we're doing. We appreciate you as always. EatDrinkSmokeShow.com. We're going to smoke more. We're going to raise more money for Twin City We Care. We're going to do some more talking to the crowd here in Gas City, in Indiana, between Indianapolis and Fort Wayne. And I have more barbecue to eat, fingers.
By the way, I didn't know this was going to be a peanut butter stout. And normally, I don't like things like that.
Is this unbelievable?
It's wonderful. It's a hint of peanut butter. You know how sometimes you'll get a peanut butter porter,
right?
And it's like you poured a Coors Light into a Jiffy can. Peanut butters come in cans for the purpose of this conversation.
Unless you're in the military.
But not this. This is just a subtle bit of peanut butter in the stout. It's wonderful.
It is terrific. That's Gas City Brewing, Mississinewa Cigar Company. Excellent people. And Dennis and the team here appreciate you. We're going to end live stream, but don't forget, we've got more of these coming up day in and day out, and we've got more from here. And be sure to get the podcast at EatDrinkSmokeShow.com or wherever you get your podcast. Get that done, guys. Appreciate it.